Hey, Dave, how you doing today?
Good, thanks. How are you?
I'm excellent. It's great to be speaking with you.
Thank you. Likewise.
Well, first of all, I want to ask you about this new book you got out, Party of One,
Yeah.
a memoir in 21 songs. Can you tell the listeners a bit about what we can expect?
Yeah. Well, it's a bunch of stories from my life as kind of an oddball. I've always been a little bit on the outside, and unlike a lot of people who are on the outside, like I was just desperate to get in. So it's a lot of stories of me sort of trying to change myself or my personality or my hair or whatever to fit into what I thought was normal and acceptable, and it never worked out. But it's led me to a place where I'm very happy. And the other sort of story is that I'm obsessed with pop culture and with music. So it's a lot of these stories are sort of told through the songs and the albums that I listened to, or the movies or TV shows that I sat in front of during them. It's the story of my life over the last 40 years, and also sort of the story of world pop culture. That sounds too heady. It's a bunch of dumb stories.
Well, I think it's great how you kind of weave in the songs that kind of affected your life and kind of weave them into the story. That's a great approach.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks. It was almost harder not to do that, because like music is such a part of my life that it was like to leave it out of the equation would make the stories impossible to tell. Can't have one without the other.
Sure. Well, I got to ask you, Dave, being the runner-up on the MTV I Want to Be a VJ contest, I want to know, I guess, your initial reaction when you lost to Jesse Camp. That guy was definitely an odd dude, for sure.
Oh, for sure. But I will tell you, the second that I met him, I thought, well, this is the guy who's going to win this thing. Because he was such a big character, and he was so unlike anyone that I had ever spoken to before. And it was something that viewers were going to be voting on, and it was for who do you want to watch on the air, and of course a guy like that is going to win. So I really was sort of preparing myself to lose, but also to get myself a job there. Like I didn't expect to be put on the air, but I thought maybe I could get myself a writing job, or maybe I could be a production assistant or something. I just wanted to be there. I just never wanted to leave. So when his name was called, I thought, okay, I saw this coming. So now it's time. Like the job is just repress all of your negative emotions about it. Don't be sad. Just like put a smile on your face. Go to the rap party. Get everyone's business cards and just start the plan. Like start Plan B immediately. And Plan B worked out.
Yeah, I know. Eventually you wound up working there anyway, and actually much more successful, I would say, than Jesse Camp. He's more of maybe like a trivia note, but you actually had a pretty good career there.
Thanks. Yeah, I lasted for a long time. The cool thing about MTV was that once you got through the door, if they trusted you, they would really let you do whatever. And there was a lot of time when there was live airtime to be filled, and if they trusted you, they would just be like, okay, go. Here's a camera crew, go out into Times Square and make things happen for an hour. And that's, when do you get to do that? That's incredible.
Well, as such a fan of music and that sort of thing, was it what you expected, I guess, working at MTV? It seems like a dream job, but was it actually that way behind the scenes?
It was better. It really was better. I mean, it was because when you watched MTV back then, you saw what was going on in front of the camera, and you saw that all your favorite artists were coming by the studio. What you didn't know was that was the tip of the iceberg. Behind the camera, there were writers and producers and talent coordinators and camera people and sound people and like just hundreds of people who were so smart and so passionate and so committed to doing like memorable TV, and to making things go smoothly. And I of course I love getting to meet like Carson and getting to meet Beyonce or whatever. Of course that's great. But then all of the people who I got to meet behind the scenes who worked so hard to make the stuff look good, like that was incredible. Those are still some of my best friends in the world.
Well, with that being said, Dave, what do you think, I guess, now of what MTV has kind of evolved into? It's definitely a lot different than it was then.
It sure is, yeah. I mean, it's very much about the scripted show now, or the sort of reality type show. It's it's not. It's doing really well. The ratings are really good, and that's their job as a network, is to deliver ratings. So they're doing what they're supposed to do. And also, it's not for me, but it's not supposed to be for me. It's not. I'm not going to complain about how the clothes fit at Baby Gap. because those clothes are not made for me. You know what I mean? It's a network that's made for people who are 14 years old, and they seem to be liking it. So if a 45-year-old man watched it a lot, there would be a problem there.
Yeah, I think it's tough for people who wonder why they don't play more music or why it isn't like it was in the 80s. Obviously, it's not for them, as you mentioned. People have a hard time, I think, coming to grips with that sometimes.
I know, yeah, and I do miss there being just one massive hub of music, especially when like a Prince dies or David Bowie or like a superstar. You want to be able to just like, I'm going to turn on MTV and I know that I'm going to, like, people are going to be calling in, or they're going to get a good interview, or they're just going to play videos from that person all day. And it's, that doesn't exist anymore, and that's a shame. Now there's of course a full internet, and you can watch anything you want, anytime you want. But that feeling that somebody was guiding the ship and somebody was like curating your experience a little bit has been lost. I miss it, but that's the world changes.
Well, I know you have a lot of stories in your book, A Party of One, a memoir in 21 songs. Could you let the listeners know maybe, I guess, some of the people you were most excited to work with when you were at MTV? I know you mentioned Beyonce, but was she on the top of your list? Or
I mentioned Beyonce. She, I was kind of there at the dawn of Destiny's Child. I guess they started right around the same time I did, and so watching her break away and just become this superstar doesn't even seem like the right word. Like, she's massive now. And I can't say that I saw that coming. She was obviously very, very talented, very beautiful. It was clear that she was the one of the group that they were kind of trying to turn into a star, but I don't know that I necessarily saw that coming. I loved watching the demographic of the network dropped a few years right after I got there because the teen pop explosion happened. And so I got to see these kids come in, and sometimes they became superstars, and sometimes they kind of, didn't. But it was always interesting to sort of watch that sort of arc take place in real time. Honestly, like, none of them, everyone was perfectly nice. All of the boy bands and all of the girl groups and the Britneys and the Christinas were all perfectly nice. So it was a pleasure to watch them succeed.
Well, I know after you left, you wound up with a lot of acting credits under your belt.
Yeah, here and there.
I especially loved your work on Reno 911. I think that was...
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, that was the most fun I have ever had in my entire life. It was... I begged for that audition, and I got it, and they would bring me back from time to time, and it just truly is. There is no script. You sort of know where the story's going to go, but that you show up on set and you improvise with the smartest, funniest people in the world. And it was anytime they would come up, like Tom Lennon or Ben Garant would come up on my caller ID, it was like, oh boy, something good is coming. It felt like Christmas Eve, like they're about to tell me something great. I miss that show terribly. It needs to come back.
Well, again, Dave, I know you're a busy guy, and again, the book, Party of One, a memoir, 21 songs, is out now. Is there anything else you're working on or something coming up maybe?
Yeah. I'm an editor-at-large at Esquire.com. We've just launched a huge package about the 1-year anniversary of the marriage equality decision. That's on the main page at Esquire.com. And that's it. If you're in Los Angeles, I do a monthly show called The Friday 40 with Scott Gimple, who is the producer of The Walking Dead. It's a sort of sketch comedy game show about current affairs where we drink beer. So that's at Chris Hardwick's Nerd Melt Theater, if you happen to be in the Los Angeles area.
Excellent. Well, again, Dave, I really appreciate you taking the time out, and I'm looking forward to finishing the book. And
thanks.
Looking for you on anything you got coming up again.
Thank you very much. You have a good day.
You too. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.